Welcome, TOC Town and Team One Blogosphere. You're listening in to Travel Tuesday. It's season 6 where we're bridging everything through. I'm in the studio with.
This is Ava Smith. Hello, TLC Town.
Go ahead, Ava. You wanted to lead the conversation this time about talking about groups.
Sure, Lady Nick, you're talking about group travel, and I believe that, sometimes that is a great way to travel with groups. I think there are a lot of people, you have friends, family, even possibly coworkers that, you've developed relationships with in the past. And when you travel as a group, sometimes your travel costs could be less expensive. And even if you travel locally, a staycation, or if you decide to take a cruise, whether it's a 4-day cruise, they even have 3-day cruises. They have different specials that are going on in the fall and winter seasons. I think group travel is a great way to go. What do you think, Lady Nick?
And my thing is too is it's like it's not only that, the days and times that we're living in, but as far as a safety measure, it's
Sure.
always in a lot of countries that I've traveled in, you need to travel with one other person or at least a group of people where you're going. You
I
know,
totally agree.
especially because Jackie and I deal with a lot of the colleges, and she's a great logistics leader,
Hmm.
and she'll probably be the first one to tell you. It's supposed to, both of you guys are moms, so
Right.
and a lot of our kids are headed off to college or they're in business. Johnny Rep travels a lot. We're
Yeah.
always concerned about their well-being and safety at the same time. So while we're, talking about travel and go here, go there, group travel is something that I highly recommend. There's always safety in numbers. So that way you're enjoying the sights, you're enjoying the sound, you're enjoying the food, but you're also staying safe because they know you're not by yourself.
Exactly, exactly. I remember, Lady Nick, I was on a cruise, my husband and there was a lady we were talking to the first day of the cruise, and she said that she was a school teacher. And she said, "Oh, I've been on about 30 or more cruises, but I go every summer by myself." Well, every time I saw her on the ship or when we would um, debark the ship, get off, at one of the sites, you almost feel a responsibility to watch that person because you know that they're traveling by themselves. And I would not recommend, going out of the country by yourself. I would recommend group travel. I believe, being with groups. It is a great way to travel. There are different things that you can plan. Um, whether you're on the cruise or at a all-inclusive resort, there are things that you could plan, but it's also a sense of safety, like you said before.
And my thing is too is the first cruise that I went to, I was gifted with it, so I went with a group. It was a small family that they included me on, and like you're saying, even though for me I was an event planner at
Hmm.
that time, and I was quote unquote, by myself, and it's like how do you say this the ship in itself, was quote unquote safe because we both grew up in Chi-Town, so
Right.
you know how to walk the streets without being, you're aware of your surroundings, so for me
Right.
it was safe whenever because they would have different shows, different things that you may want to do that the other group may want to do, and
Hmm.
that there's so many options available where you're like, okay, well, you guys can go ahead and go on the excursion, but I'm pretty much a homebody. I'll stay in and enjoy. They had a symphony orchestra there, some live instruments. So
Wow.
I'm a big fan of that. So I could listen to that for hours. If you're willing to play for hours, I'm willing to listen for hours. So as
Yeah.
as your culture develops, you kind of fall into those things. But
Yeah.
we were saying, let me just say this because we got so much to talk about.
Yes, we do.
And we were on our way to the Caribbean, but one thing
Hmm.
I did remember, because you hear the reports where people, they're a little bit tipsy and they're falling off the boat, and you can see
Just a little
why.
bit.
Yeah, right. And so they had too much to drink on their free plan, that they pay for, but you're like, taking advantage of it doesn't mean that you become, what that's another,
Intoxicated.
right, that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother episode. But
Yes, it
one
is.
thing I did know was that people looked out for me, especially like if I got to know people from the staff, they'd be like, how are you doing? And, how are you? So I
Sure.
understand, like, sometimes you may need to go somewhere by yourself,
Oh, yeah.
but definitely if you travel with a group, like let's say you're part of a quilting group or a sewing group, or even for me, I love writing. You may
Mhm.
travel as a writing group.
Oh,
That
that's a
way,
great
you see
idea.
what I'm saying? So it's not like you're by yourself, but you're definitely with like-minded people, and you can enjoy the cruise or the trip together based on the group that you're with. So that way, you're
Yes.
still, in safe quarters, but you're not, in solitude having to stay in one place. You were gonna say
Exactly.
something else?
Well, no, Lady Nick, just in July, I sent a group of about 8 women to Paris. And of course, the group started off with about 15 people, then it narrowed down to 12 people, and then they ended up with 8 people. They went to Paris. The special that they got, they were able to receive their last night free, their hotel stay. The last night was free. But of course, as a travel agent, you want to keep up with, did everybody get to the airport okay? Did everybody connect their flights, fine? And did they end up in Paris together? Did they get on the shuttle together? And, even connecting with them and giving them packets about the Wi-Fi services, safety measures. It was just such a blessing sitting with them before they left for their trip, to answer any questions that they had. But you know what the greatest part of the trip for me was? I wanted to know, how did they do? So when they got back, I got reports of how they want to go as a group whenever they travel
Right?
over and over again. They want to go back to Paris. And that really shocked me. I said, wow, in this day and age, I thought that they would probably come back and say, okay, that's it. We're not going back there. But they said, we want to do it again and we want to go with the same people. They said they had the most peaceful, relaxing time, going to, the shopping centers, drinking tea, sipping wine, eating cheese and crackers. And I thought, wow, how awesome
Awesome.
is that?
Mhm.
So I definitely recommend, like you said, getting groups together. And I think, Lady Nick, you deal with the music industry.
I do. And I was thinking while you're talking is that there are a lot of ways to implement a safety security system, even in the day and age of Wi Fi, because you don't always have Wi Fi available everywhere you go. You
Hmm.
do miss emails, you do miss text messages. But one thing for groups, for DEM and Divine Expression Academy, a lot of
Right.
times we would have t-shirts, that we would wear. It seems
Oh,
like a simple
yeah.
idea, but something happens when you put on a t-shirt and then you're matching another person. And it's like,
Yes.
hey, we're part of the same group. We're going to the same area. We're doing,
Right.
we have a same interest, and that sparks conversation.
Yeah, it does. That's what I was about to say. That definitely sparks conversation. And then you end up connecting with what we call more wise associations.
Right?
You end up connecting with them, and then they end up being friends or associations for another part of your life that you never thought would happen.
And I know for me, it's like, for oh my goodness, I have so many stories to share,
I love it.
because because I remember one time I was traveling with the ministry,
Mhm.
and they put us with some new people, and I'm kind of like, I stick with what I know. And so what I did was, I started interviewing the family that we were staying with. And oh my goodness. It ended
Okay.
up being a wonderful evening conversation. Everybody's laughing. You
Wow.
find the funny point of what maybe somebody went through. And it turns out to be, for me, it's very healing and very
Sure.
therapeutic. Travel ends up being therapeutic that way. When we get
Yes.
past the long lines and, maybe the hot weather, it's like
Mhm.
you get to the point of why you really want to travel, or even
Yep.
why we became, certified travel agents, because there's definitely therapy and connecting and community and
Yeah.
sharing with one another.
Oh, totally.
Yep.
Totally, totally.
And like you mentioned, that's one of the reasons why we do the Travel Tuesday podcast, and not only that, but this season we want to mix it up and become a little bit more eclectic,
Yes.
in what we serve, because we are multicultural people. I've had Jean Kim, who is a Baroque violinist. She stopped by the
Wow.
studio and blessed us with some music from her violin,
Beautiful.
and also gave us a session on how she talked about disciplining herself, and you got to know her a little bit more personally. So not only as an artisan, but we got to embrace how she grew up culturally, because she's from South Korea,
Okay.
and also, I'm looking forward to more sessions between myself and you and Jackie, where we head
Yeah.
out to do some travel therapy in the malls,
That would be wonderful.
because my goal is that definitely we provide more inspiration for our certified travel agents to say,
Yes.
hey, maybe during your trip you bring back a gift or an idea that, and I have a video blog coming up where, while I'm in the Caribbean, there's definitely some things that you may want to take along with you that
Mm.
are time savers, that are budget busters, and they
Wow.
really help you enjoy the trip. Like if something goes on, you
Mhm.
have this to make sure that you're okay. You see what I'm saying?
Like
So,
like when we like when the three of us went downtown and we met up at
mm-hmm.
the water tower. At first we were going to go to the Waldorf Astoria, and how that big blizzard was there, but we were doing good with soul food, weren't we?
I know, right? So it's like get a good meal before you head on out with us.
Right, but that's far from the Caribbean.
Oh yeah,
By the way,
definitely.
when you went to the Caribbean, Lady Nick, the lady that sold the pies or whatever she was selling,
Oh, they're
did you?
called. No, I didn't get to see her this time, but
Okay.
listeners, what Lady Ava is talking about. This is where my mind, because I come from, a Midwestern upbringing. So
Okay.
a lot of what the Caribbean taught me about business blew my understanding out of the water.
Serious work ethic, wasn't it?
Serious work ethic.
Wow.
And I just, and mind you, you have mornings when you wake up, you just don't want to deal.
Like
you,
today.
you right. You don't want to. You got a long schedule ahead of you. You just want to. You got to work your way through it, and you're thanking
Hmm.
God when it's all said and done. But it's first thing in the morning, and she is out there hustling hard,
Wow.
and I just had to smile and give her a nod, like, sister girl, you are
Right.
working it.
Yeah.
And
So she would be a poster for no
oh,
excuses.
she's a mental poster for me, because
Okay.
definitely I put her in the forefront of my mind every time I think about I don't feel like it.
Wow.
Maybe somebody else can help me out and do it for me. It's like, nope. If
Yes.
she can do it, you have more access, more privileges, and thankfully we even have sponsors that help us put together the Travel Tuesday podcast. So we're almost wrapped up for this session, but definitely let people know where they can get in contact with you, Ava, to book a trip or a group.
Oh yeah. Well, they could either find me through you, Lady Nick, or you can go to www.royalviewtravel.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Ava Smith, Instagram, Lady Ava, or Twitter, Ava Smith, and you can inbox me as well, and we can. I also have a group called Royal View Travel, where you can connect there and we can get your group going.
Oh
I look
yeah.
forward to just, booking a few more groups with women or families and children. And that's really my focus in the travel industry. Of course, you know, booking trips for small groups or families or even individuals, but I love booking group trips because there's so many amenities as well if they book cruises. But like with Paris, able to give them a flat rate. They stayed at the best hotels in Paris and able, to go on tours together. So I love it. Absolutely love it, lady.
Awesome. And I'm like, one thing that I was going to add on was definitely we're looking forward to growing our certified travel agent community.
Mhm.
So if you've listened to our podcast and it sparked a change in you where you wanted to become a certified travel agent, definitely email us at toctown14@gmail.com. We'll be glad to walk you through how we do and what we do so that you
Beautiful.
can prosper and be a great agent for change in someone else's environment. So we're sad to say, goodbye, but we definitely will be back with more Travel Tuesday,
Yes.
introducing you to more travel agents. Ava, why don't you go ahead and sign us off?
Well, it's just been a pleasure talking with you today, Lady Nick, and I look forward to more opportunities. And TOC, thank you so much for joining us today, and please connect with Lady Nick. And what was that email address? TOCtown14
14 at gmail.com.
at gmail.com.
Take care.
Bye.